next presentation belongs to Dušan Stojanović, Director and Founder at True Global Ventures. He is a citizen of the world with a Swedish passport. He was awarded the prize Business Angel of the Year in Europe in 2013 by European Business Angel Network after having 3 positive exits within a week, which was previously unheard of in the global angel history. So let's all welcome Dušan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here in Malta, which I think is going to be one of the new cities where blockchain is going to rock. So I will tell you, Mikko earlier today, and also Eddie told you about Think Like a VC. I will tell you how we are going to disrupt the centralized VC systems. Not only me and our decentralized platform, but how any of you can do it. Before doing that, can I just have a raise of hands? Attention, everybody. Who has done a direct investment, an angel investment? Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many have done a blockchain ICO investment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, less. Okay, just wanted to know where you guys are. How many are fundraising again? Hands up again? Okay, so that's more, 13. All right, so what have happened with me? Basically, let's see if we, so I used to be this kind of angel investor of the year in Europe 2013. That was great. I moved to Asia, sorry about that. I moved to Asia because I believed that something would happen in Asia, which is the ICOs. Let's see if I can get this back. Got a little bit stuck. Can somebody help me to go back? Yeah, so I was on this, oops. All right, so what happened when I moved to Asia, I realized the blockchain and basically the power of the blockchain. So from having these kind of 3 exits in a week, 2012-13, basically we ended up having 4 actually ICOs in more or less a couple of months. And I want you to tell you, particularly to this crowd, one of them, which is right here, Bounty Sword powered by Kenya. Believe this story. Silicon Valley, serial entrepreneurs. The guys leave the company 2 years ago. What happens? You have 48,000 open source developers. My co-partner in the Valley says, Dušan, write this company off. I say no. Why? Of 2 reasons. They had 1 single customer, which was IBM, who loved them. And they have 48,000 open source developers who also love them. So what happened in this story was that management left 2 years ago. And believe it or not, the company went this way. After management left, serial entrepreneurs. So some of the community of 48,000 open source developers actually sustained the platform itself without losing money. This was in 2014 when we started this. Does anyone here remember when Ripple was still open sourced? These were our first customers. Do you believe that with $12 billion raised in ICOs that this company might have a future? Probably, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is it's all about timing. And it's also believing in decentralization in the long term, not giving up too early. So that's my best example of a really decentralized system. Then we have SharesPost that is doing an ICO. We have Bruzel that has done a fantastic ICO. And we have Striking that is doing right now one with GBX. Now, I told you about the $12 billion that have been raised in 5 quarters. That's amazing, right? Telegram gave a lot of big push, as you know, in getting this mega ICO of $1.7 billion, which has given a lot of confidence into the market. Compared to the $1 billion that have been raised of VCs, you see where we are going. We are not going into the centralized VC system. We are going into something completely different. Now, we had a global competition called the Global Blockchain Competition in March. We went out there and said, can we find enough of actually great teams out there? And we found 200 projects within these 4 verticals: blockchain infrastructure, blockchain financial services, blockchain AI, and blockchain entertainment. 80% of those were backed by serial entrepreneurs who had put in their own cash into those businesses. So this thing about scams in ICOs and all that thing is just pure bullshit. There are credible people there if anyone ever had a doubt. Don't have to tell this to this crowd. Where are the ICOs happening? You already know. It's mainly in small countries. Gibraltar, Israel, Singapore, Switzerland. So they have a way bigger chance. Malta, as we know. Macron even wants to have his big share now in France. And Japan is coming up with maybe the most ambitious policy. Now, what do? We invest in serial entrepreneurs reinvesting the cash at the same time as us. I started an internet bank that I sold in 2005, which was called Mona Bank, where we actually, kind of made sure that we could offer financial services without any bank branches. Then we invested with True Global Ventures in payments and then blockchain and today in ICO. So what we are doing already currently is that we are investing in 11 cities, in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, New York, Paris, Berlin, Stockholm, London. But in order to actually really grow and really be with the distributed teams in blockchain, we need to go from 11 cities to 30 cities. Why? Because we have to be there where you have, number one, blockchain developers, number two, where the business is, and number three, where there is an accommodating ICO policy. How can you do that to scale? The only answer is by completely decentralize yourself. You remember the bounty source example? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to decentralize myself out with 60 general partners in 30 cities, which is completely unheard of in the general centralized world of the VCs. And Malta will be next. So you have two trends that I want you to remember from this slide. The first trend is that we are not the first one to try to offer liquidity in terms of LP interest. Blockchain Capital is doing it. Spice VC is doing it. But nobody until today has actually done it in a decentralized way where you have a global decentralized structure where you create liquidity for the investors. That's where we are the first. And we will not be the last. If anyone wants to use our technology, you're more than welcome. The second piece that I want to mention that is really a big trend is that exchanges like the Gibraltar blockchain exchange, where you can do both primary and secondary ICO tokens, like Coin in Japan and Singapore, like SharesPost in the US, there are more and more of those coming. That is fantastic for those that actually do want to fundraise because they can fundraise on those platforms in the future, which makes it way, way easier to actually set up big funds. Now, this picture is showing you where we believe the future is. We believe that you can do business everywhere in the world. No matter if it's China or India, where ICOs are completely illegal, you can still invest in fantastic companies in blockchain just in equity. If there is a green light, as you can hear, more of these are green, you can invest both in blockchain equity and then later on in private pre-sale and ICOs. So the world is open, and these colors keep changing. So one day it's green, one day it's red, and you have to keep an eye on it, and you need to be decentralized because you have to have enough greens in order to survive if you want to play in the ICO space. So that is really, Europe is catching up big time. Malta we talked about, Paris we talked about, and it's way greener in Europe than in Asia and in the US. Why? Because maybe some scams haven't happened in Europe, so maybe there will be a backfire soon. Then it will be red, and then it will turn into green. We, however, we always invest in equity and nothing else. Now, there are kind of four major components here that I want to mention to where I see the future of decentralized VC funds. The first thing that is the biggest thing, and this is the most important page of the whole presentation, is liquidity. The underlying liquidity of ICOs is terrific. We've shortened our cycle from 4 years to 2.5. Why? Because half of our portfolio have been ICO'd. So poof, investment period almost often, poof, liquidity before the investment period even finishes. That's number one. Number two, that you can create actually liquidity between LPs. That's huge. That's unheard of. That's why this asset class suddenly becomes extremely important for everybody, which was not the case before. Family offices just love it because it gives them the liquidity that normal, traditional, early-stage angel investment never gave it to them. Defaults on call of funds, forget it. The smart contracts take care of that as well. This is the beauty, and I think the new VCs and early-stage funds and private equity funds will look like this in the next 10 years. Now, the second piece was GBX, Gibraltar Blockchain Exchange. For example, what can you do there? You don't have to go one by one, dinner after dinner after dinner after dinner after dinner to raise funds. You go chop in one go, and you raise your funds. Beautiful. Has never been possible before, possible today. International, this is our secret sauce. What do we mean by our secret sauce? Basically, by being in 30 cities at the same time globally, we can help our companies better than ever before. We can help them with customers, with financing, with recruitment, and so on. And the beauty of that, it can be tokenized. So if you do help, you lost the free rider effect that you had with the old angel community, where only 10% were doing value add and 19% were passively listening. You get whoever does something gets a token. It's fair. And it's an extra incentive for everybody to help. That didn't exist before. This is really thanks to the tokenization models that we can see this being actually really helpful. And last but not least, this is the data analytics component that we believe is going to come way, way, way more. It's basically, if you have so many investors, we are counting on 3,000, and we are investing in 100 companies, how do you match this? You got to do it with data analytics. You got to do it so that there is a recommendation coming, which person can help which company. Otherwise, it just becomes a big mess. So that's really the intersection between blockchain and AI, which we believe will change the world in the next decade. If you're interested to copy our model, you're welcome. If you are interested in joining us, you're also welcome. If you want to that we invest into, you're always also welcome. So thank you very much. My name is Dušan Stojanović. I am based out of Singapore. Thank you. I forgot one thing. I'm the third generation of Nikola Tesla. So every time I do an exit, I actually donate to the Tesla Science Center in Shoreham or in Palo Alto or the Tesla the movie. So think about donating whenever you make money, guys. It's important for the future.